Are you ready to stop the self-sabotage and create the life you desire? Well, in order for that to happen, you need to break free from the bad beliefs that are holding your success hostage. You need to optimize the stress by turning it into extra energy for success. And those hurtful habits? Well, we need to give that pain a purpose for progress. Welcome to Stop the Self-Sabotage and Create the Life You Desire podcast.
Nothing like doing a class on how to go from overwhelm and stress into extra energy for success before you shut down because there's too much strain, and starting 7 minutes late because none of the software is connecting like it's supposed to. I will tell you, in the past, what I have done is I would have put up a notice going, we just can't do the class, it's just too much. And I would have boo-hooed and sobbed and what the hell? Instead, it was, okay, let's come up with some really quick options. Drew has joined us in the chat, but because we couldn't get the software to work, he won't be live on here, but he will be talking to me from across our partner desk in case I forget to tell you anything, right, babe?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, really loud. Okay. Let me ask you, when is the last time you experienced, it starts out first as stress, and then it moves into overwhelm? When's the last time you experienced that? What was going on? Drop a word. Let me know. What situation were you in? Was it the fact that maybe there was a medical diagnosis that you weren't expecting? Or could it have been as simple as, I got a flipping ticket going into work, okay? Or maybe it was, hey, Vicki, I am so glad you're here. You know, what caused stress and overwhelm for you? Because we can short circuit it. We can stop it at that point. Because if we let it go further, the third step is shut down. Okay, so it's what we actually call SOS. You know, you hear about it with in ships, right? If they get into distress, they send out an SOS that says, save our ship. Well, for us, it's stress, overwhelm, and then shut down. If we divert that energy before you get to shut down, you can actually turn yourself on even brighter, bolder, get more done with less effort. It is all how the mind is wired to optimize these emotional states. If you think about a ship, it is meant to be in the water. And the powerful part of our mind that handles all of these habits and patterns, it uses symbols. So water is the symbol for our emotions. So we're meant to be in emotional states. But when does a ship have problems? Not that it's in an environment of water, it's when the water gets into it. So it's not that you're in an emotional environment. It's when that environment begins to use you instead of you using it. So if you have experienced the SOS, where it's the stress, the overwhelm, and then you went into shutdown, which is different than renewal. We're going to be talking about that. Everybody needs renewal. Everybody needs time to rejuvenate, but only after you've done the first 3 R's of reveal, release, and relearn. Then you've earned the right to go to renewal. I'm going to show you how to do that today. So if you've experienced that stress and that overwhelm and you're going, how come there are other people that can be in the same type of situation and they actually make it work for them? And if you think of any best-selling author or thought leader, all they did was learned how to take the crap in their life and package it in a way that they could sell to others. So you can either have that crap stinking up your world, or you can use it as manure for the garden of growth. This is what I would like you to do as we move on. This is a conversation. This is when we get to engage each other. So as you have questions on how this can be used for what you've actually got going on in your life, drop a comment. If I don't catch it, Drew will. It'll be easier if you put a Q in front of it. And something else that I also would like you to do for this to really work for you today is for you to use hashtag AHA, AHA, and share with us your breakthroughs. Why is that? Because we need to upgrade your identity right now to being one of a leader and a peak performer. And anything you commit to publicly, you are more likely to follow through with. So this isn't about writing in your secret journal and no one else is going to see it. So that way, if you don't follow through, it's okay. No. We've had enough of situations, people, places, and things, PPS, controlling you. Now it's time for you to take your control back. This is a transfer of authority, but to be able to do that, we're going to upgrade your identity starting now. So hashtag AHA for things where you're like, yes, that'll work. I want to be able to follow through with that. That does make sense. And because the only things you do are the things that you get rewarded for. Anything you continually do, functional, or even the things that screw you up, it's because there's some sort of payoff. What we're going to be doing is for people who are either with us live or they're catching the replay this weekend. On Monday, we're going to be scrolling through everybody who left an AHA. We call it Spin the Wheel of Winning. And we're going to randomly pick an AHA winner, and you're going to get a gift certificate to be able to utilize on your next level of success. That'll be coming out Monday. So make sure that you post those AHAs. I'm even going to be doing a hypnosis session for you as part of this training, so you can get those rapid results. Okay. Have I forgotten anything, babe?
I don't think so.
All righty. Can you do me a favor and turn on the fan? It's getting warm in here.
Okay.
All right. So here's what we've got. We've got stress, overwhelm, and shutdown, the 3 stages that you've been trained to experience. That's right. It's all condition and training. This is not normal. You picked up these behaviors. 80% of who you are as an adult was picked up by age 8. So, hey, primary caregivers, older siblings, a coach, an important teacher in your life, you model the shutdown behavior after them. Okay, so we're going to talk about how to short circuit that. We're going to talk about the 4 steps you need to replace it with. Are you from St. Louis? If you're from St. Louis, or if you're a blues fan, let us know. Can you believe what happened? When was that? Not last night, but the night before. How they were absolutely robbed of the potential to have a victory. Not the victory, but the potential. Oh my gosh. Well, let me ask you this. If you follow anybody in sports, maybe it's a sports team. It could also be the Olympics. I really enjoy watching those peak performers, or Drew and I are really engaged in Formula One. If you see one of them lose, and especially if they lose unfairly, what do you expect them to do? Do you expect them to go, oh, well, that wasn't right. Oh, I need to go back to my safe place. I need more self-care. Nothing wrong with self-care. But that's not what we expect out of our leaders. We expect them to dig deeper, is one of the things, be relentless, get back up and find a way to make it work for them. Well, what's the difference between them and what you've been experiencing? Nothing, besides the fact that they are conditioned to run into challenges, and you have been programmed to run away. Okay, so we're going to be talking about when those things happen, the 4-part process that you'll put yourself through, and how will you continue to sabotage yourself? Because the fact that you're actually holding yourself back at times, you're getting something out of it. It's what we call the core 4. But the core 4 and dysfunction are the same core 4 that's going to position you as a next level leader. So let's get into this. SOS, stress. Be thinking about the stressors. Again, put down your ahas and also engage with us. Oh, I love that, Neil. Give to the blind officials fund. Neil, you just won 500 points that you can use towards that fund. Okay, so stress. First, we need to know what triggers you. Stress is not a bad thing. Stress is actually what we need to look for. Peak performance in leadership does not look to ignore stress. It finds ways to turn it on. So you've got either distress or eustress. Eustress is spelled EU and then the word stress. What's the difference between the two? Simply the way you frame it in your mind. Is it that everybody's out to get you? Is it that you can't count on anybody? Is it that you've tried this before and it hasn't worked? Is it that you're not good enough? Is it that there's not enough? So there are what's known as 4 emotional wounds: abandonment, rejection, unworthiness, and invalidation. Have you experienced abandonment when you were younger? Then when things get really hard, when they get really stressful, you probably don't even get to the overwhelm stage that often because you find something else to busy yourself with. You find another problem because the subconscious mind has 2 tracks. It can either solve problems or it can design a life, but it cannot do both. So you'll just find another problem. Rejection. Rejection is when you will share that you've tried all these different things and nothing's worked. Well, Pareto's principle tells us, the 80-20 rule, that for every 10 things you do, only 2 are going to work. That's going to be 1 out of 5, but typically you're getting close to the end of that 10 before you find the 2 that are suitable. Why does it take that long? Because you've been conditioned to solve problems. When I said earlier that was your programming, if you think about how you got through grades in school, you solved enough problems, you got promoted to the next level, and then eventually you went into corporate. And if you solved enough problems, you got to the next level. So your subconscious mind, which runs all of your habits and patterns, continues to look for ways for you to solve problems, instead of designing a life to say, how can I use this? That's the only difference between you and the leader, is that the leader says, I'm in this situation, and guess what? It's going to bring me out at my very best. I am going to find strengths, talents, and abilities that I didn't even know that I possessed, and I'm going to capitalize on them. Instead, we will go back to that original emotional wound of everything I do isn't going to work. And then the subconscious mind is tuned in to find everything that's not going to work and make sure that it positions all of that at the very beginning. Okay, so what stresses you out? I know we have people on here who have lost a job. We have people here who, another person is having a hard time finding the job they want. They've got one, but it's not good enough. It's not where they need to be. I know we have people on here that have had challenges with health diagnosis. We've also have people on here that are having problems in their family, the significant other relationships. So what is it triggering? Is it abandonment? To where, okay, well, I'm having a problem in that significant other relationship. So instead of saying, what do I need to do to address that? I'm going to go create a problem over here with my health because it diverts your attention. Abandonment, rejection, unworthiness. unworthiness, I'm not good enough, guess what? I need to go out and make something else happen before I can address this. I saw this just today. I had met with a coach, another coach that leads men's groups in the area. Met with him a few days ago. He has a unique offering. I said, share with me. I'd like to let some people know about that. He got back with me today and said, oh, you know what? I can't share it just yet because the one page on my website that holds my events, it's not exactly the way I want it to be. And so I need to get that fixed before I can share these events with you. Why? You don't have a phone number where people can call you? You can describe the event and a phone number or an email, and I can pass that along. Unworthiness is when we will distract ourselves. And in my profession as a healingpreneur and as a success coach, I see people do this all the time where, oh, wow, instead of going out and getting clients, I'll get another set of initials behind my name. Okay, so not being good enough is when you sabotage yourself from even getting to the overwhelm because you say there's something else that I have to do first. Remember, hashtag aha lets us know something that you're going to use. It starts upgrading your identity. If you have any questions on what it is that we're covering, put a Q in front of the comment that you're dropping for us, and then Drew will let me know so we can get those answered. We want a conversation here. All right, so what was it? I did abandonment, rejection, unworthiness, invalidation. Invalidation, when you're stressed out, you find all the people that you're looking for approval from that ain't never going to give it to you. Yeah, you're looking for the jobs that aren't going to hire you. You are looking for the okay from the significant other who has already proven up to this point that they want to tear you apart whenever they get stressed out. Approval is actually dysfunctional. Recognition, on the other hand, is not. Hey, Mark, I am really glad you're here, and hi back to you. Okay, so whenever we look for validation, we're going to look for an outside source to tell us how we score. Have you been on Instagram looking at the selfies? Yeah, a whole generation looking for approval from someone outside of them. I'm telling you right now, it's not their fault and it's not our fault when we experience these challenges. We've been conditioned to do this. So you need to know where your stressor is coming from before we can actually address it. And if you have any questions on those 4 areas, abandonment, rejection, unworthiness, and invalidation, drop it down in the comments with a Q in front of it. So you want to know where your stress is coming from. Your stress is coming from the fact that you have an emotional wound. And you keep looking for something outside of you to make it okay, and it's not. And that's when we get into the overwhelm. The overwhelm happens whenever something known as flooding takes place. Emotional flooding is a psychological term. Now you need to know, I am a certified hypnotist and a rapid results coach. I don't prescribe drugs and I don't make any diagnoses. I just educate you on how to bring you out at your very best, okay? So I have to do that whenever I use terms like flooding so I don't get in trouble with other sanctioning bodies. Okay, so flooding means whenever your switch for your emotions is left in the open position and it just all starts coming at you. Some people will call it anxiety. You know what's on the other side of anxiety? It's not calmness, excitement, passion. Panic. Some people will call it panic. You know what's on the other side? Extreme focus. See, when you start panicking, you cut off other things that are on your, how do you say that? Peripheral vision, okay? And it's extreme laser. What a great state to be in if you need to make something happen right away. A lot of people, whenever they'll work with us privately with any type of overwhelming fear, I'll say, what do you want? And they're like, oh, to be calm and relaxed. I'm like, not going to happen, because your body is saying, use this energy that we're giving you, turn it on, reach greater heights of success with less effort. Let's make this happen. That's what it's here for. That's the emotional optimization. So stress is actually a good thing. That's eustress, because it's letting us know where your emotional wound is, and where that wound is actually holds your wealth. So the stress goes from distress to eustress. The overwhelm, which is the flooding, where you've got all these different things that are coming in all at once, that's great, because now it's the opportunity to actually bring out capabilities you didn't even know you had. But to do that, we now need to shut off outside influences. Because if we do not, you'll go into the third stage, which is shutdown. And now you're not any good to anybody. We'll see it with sports teams whenever they choke at the last moment. A gymnast who, we've all heard the stories of somebody getting hurt and going out and then taking the gold. I've had the extreme pleasure of working with some gymnasts in arenas like that. And I've also had the honor of working with some where they choked because they did get hurt, because they focused on the hurt instead of how to use the hurt to help them to get to the next level. So shutdown is what happens whenever you're going, I need to back away. I am flooded. I can't do anything with this. And for a lot of people, they can shut down up to 72 hours. That's how long it takes for the brain to process through something like this. But yet we will have leaders in peak positions who can experience 20 minutes of flooding and then say, okay, I need to close the doors, batten the hatches on the boat, not letting any more water in. Now let's use it as steam to propel the engine. So what point do you get to whenever you shut down? Is it 3 different things that happen? So you have some rules around this. Is it that, well, I didn't get kudos from somebody else, and then I had somebody ask me to do something for them, and I felt like I couldn't get a breath. You have psychologically as well as physiology, so the mental as well as the physical, you have a process that you go to that takes you from overwhelm into shutdown. You want to start looking at what that is. I'm not working with you privately, so I'm not able to assist you and tell you right now, but you can start getting some indications of when it's showing up. So that way you can say, you know what, I'm not looking for approval from that person. I am not looking for someone, if someone asks me if I can assist them with something, I'm going to tell them, you know what, can't give you an answer for 72 hours. So we need to shut off how other people are plugging into you, because that's what moves you into shutdown. Okay. SOS. To go from that into utilizing all of this to work for you, there's a 4-step process. Reveal, release, relearn, renew. Reveal. We've already talked about it. That's when you look at what emotional wound is getting triggered. Abandonment, rejection, unworthiness, and invalidation. You have your favorite. Yes, we all experience them, but you have one that continues to lead you to problems in situations. So reveal, release. Release is when you quit getting your needs met, your emotional needs met in a dysfunctional way. The reason why it keeps overwhelming you and shutting you down is because you get what's known as secondary gain. I want you to think about, and secondary gain happens without us consciously realizing it. I want you to take a moment and think about somebody who is experiencing some sort of illness that is so debilitating they're bedridden for a while. And it's a real challenge for them to do anything, much less get up and take care of others. They are now working through it. They're moving to the other side. It is when they're moved to the other side and they start seeing progress that they're at one of the tipping points for relapse, because the subconscious mind is going, well, we're feeling better, but now we have all these extra responsibilities. Why would we want to feel better if more is going to be required from us? It was easier to be sick and have others take care of us. Again, this is not something we consciously do. If a lawyer reaches out to Drew or I and says, hey, can you work with a client that I'm representing? They were in a car accident. They're in a lot of extreme pain right now. Can you just dim it down a little bit for them until we get through the trial? The case isn't settled yet? No, we cannot assist them. Why is that? Because they think they need to be in pain to be able to win the most money. See how that works? So there's a part of you that has learned to get your emotional need met. I'll go over them, what they are. And guess what? They match up to those emotional wounds. There's a part of you that has learned to use that to actually keep you at a lower level because it's easier. As you move up into higher levels of leadership, life does not get easier. There's an old saying, don't ask for it to be easier. Ask yourself for you to be better. More is going to be required of you at those higher levels. But yet most people have been programmed with an employee mindset of someone or something outside of me needs to take care of me. And so I can continue to get my needs met in a dysfunctional way. You have to release that. And then you need to relearn, because you cannot leave a void. The subconscious mind will not tolerate a void. And so you have to replace it with something of your choosing, because the subconscious mind doesn't have the capability. It runs on the age of between 8 and 12. Average that out, that's a 10-year-old. It doesn't have the capability of using what's known as the executive functioning center that makes all of your high-level decisions. It doesn't have access to that to say, oh, well, I want to get well, and I know that I'll no longer get attention because I'm sick, but guess what? Now I'm going to get attention because I moved through it, because I'm better than what I was before. And now I can get attention because I'm guiding others through the process that I used. Okay, so we have to release, we have to relearn. And then after that, we have to renew. Because when you do get stressed and when you do optimize it, there's still a price to be paid. That there is still some downtime that you're going to need. For a lot of people in what's known as the mediocre masses, that downtime is 72 hours. Peak performance leaders know how to reset 10 minutes. I'm going to give you the beginnings in the hypnosis session to begin to accelerate how long it takes you for your downtime. It's going to be up to you on how quick it works for you. You want it to work slower, it will. You want to be able to speed it up, it's going to do that too. Remember, this is how to turn overwhelm and stress into extra energy for your next level of success. Okay, let's now talk about what you're going to be relearning. That core four that we said holds those emotional wounds, they also hold your wealth. That core four is also known as certainty, variety, worthiness, and love. Certainty. By the way, these are the 4 stages that we develop through between the ages of 8 and 13. There are 3 levels above this, but most people never get to those levels. In fact, it is said anywhere between 80 and 97% of the population never go any further. Okay, babe, you are monitoring to make sure that, okay. So about, excuse me, about age 8, we start on this journey. And on the core 4, we always start on what's considered the undeveloped side, and then we move over to the strength side. Okay, so certainty. The undeveloped side is safety, where we are dependent on other people, places, and things to be okay. If you think of children, 8 years old, yeah, that's pretty much what they have to do. What they really want to experience is what's known as security. Security says if it is to be, it is up to me. We learn to tie our shoes, get ourselves dressed, pour our cereal, and be able to go outside and play. We have processes and systems on how to take care of ourselves. Now, when we feel like something that we've counted on as a process or a system that typically shows up as a person that went away without giving us a cue that they were going to go away. It could have been a grandparent that passed away. It might have been a favorite teacher that went out on maternity leave and never came back. It could have been a parent that walked out. But when there was a process or a system in the form of a person that went away and we didn't know it was going to happen, that's when we will develop the abandonment wound. And for people who experience abandonment, they go to work on something in one area of their life, and then they get stressed. They don't get overwhelmed. They just get stressed, and then they run off and they go do something else. Okay? But once our child has a certain level of development, then they move up to the next level, variety, because if things are too certain, they get pretty boring. And so now we want to introduce not just systems, but the emotional states that are behind those systems. We look at wanting to experience high highs, maybe low lows. Now, if you think of a preteen and teenagers, but remember, we develop through these between the ages of 8 and 13. Drama queens and kings, because they're looking for a variety of experiences, freedom to choose how they want to go through those different emotional states. And unfortunately, for a lot of us, we were raised with it's my way or the highway. You're going to do it this way. Or, oh no, don't let it get too hard. Let me take care of it for you. So we never learn to develop our resilience going through a variety of experiences. And this is when the emotional wound of rejection shows up, is that we won't stick with anything long enough. When I deal with an extreme form of procrastination, I know that it could simply be that they're always looking for the next hit of something different. They're looking for the next stressor. They're looking for the next overwhelm to give themselves something to do. Okay, So that is what will cause that emotional wound that is now leading you to be stressed and overwhelmed. And then when you have so many different varieties of experiences, you shut down. You can't handle it. But once our child has learned that there are some experiences that they really do enjoy, they move up to the next level, which is going to be worthiness. So what have we got so far? That we've got under certainty, if it is to be, it is up to me. And then we've got variety, that they're choosing how they want to express themselves. That leads to the next level then with worthiness of look at me, look at me, look at me. Look how fabulous I am. Yes. Or it can also be, oh, look at how many problems I have. It can go either way. Now this again is the never-ending need that leads to us experiencing unworthiness. So you can never have enough selfies, you can never have enough kudos, you can never have enough victims in your life that you have to save, you can never have enough people in your life that you have to sacrifice yourself for. That's the unworthiness that will trigger the stress and the overwhelm. By the way, what you're getting today is what we actually train our certified hypnotists in. This is the process that they take clients through after they receive their certification. So you're getting a mini version of that, because I want you to be informed on why you keep freaking your life up. Okay, remember, if you have any questions on it, just put a Q before you put the comment and ask. All right, so if we can get past the look at me, look at me, look at me, we actually move into significance. This is still at the worthiness level. And significance says, oh, I've been through a whole hoop and bunch. Let me see how I can assist someone else to get through it. I don't have all the answers, but I've got some beginning steps. How, and this is the one-to-one interaction. This is not one-to-many. That's the next level up. But if you're continuing to stay stuck in unworthiness, then you'll continue, because each level not only embodies that level, it embodies all the levels below it. So you will continue to say, oh my gosh, look at me. I've got all of these problems. There's all of this drama added to it, and it is never my fault. It is always someone else's. So we've got the abandonment, we've got the rejection, and we've got the unworthiness. How do I know about these things? Because I believe at one point in my life, I had all of them mastered on the negative side, which is one of the reasons why I went into the field that I did. Okay. Next level up. So after you begin to have some significance and you feel like you're moving beyond these challenges, the next level where we can have the wound of invalidation, it happens not because of you. It happens because of what someone in your environment did to you. So this is where, wow, I'm in charge of me and I'm feeling pretty good about it. I've got some different ways I can express myself, and I'm also connecting with others, and we've got these shared values, and you're making some progress in life. Remember, all of this happens between the ages of 8 and 13. And someone gets threatened by that progress, that they're feeling like you might be surpassing them. And that's when they look at you and go, really, Missy? Getting a little bit big for your britches, aren't you? And this is when you learn to hold yourself back so others don't feel bad about themselves. This is the wound of invalidation. What you really wanted is love. That's this level. It's also the beginning levels of leadership. You just wanted somebody to care about you. And you learned that the only way to do that was to hold yourself back, not shine. And you keep putting yourself into situations today as an adult where you've got that potential to be a superstar. And then you will find the one person that does not support you on your journey, and it'll take you right back down. You say, why even bother? You know, who am I without all of these problems? There needs to be a lot of drama in my life. I have been taught to hand my power over to other people to appreciate me instead of finding the other leaders who recognize me. This is the reason why at the very beginning I said this is not your fault. Okay. So if invalidation, you feel like you're holding yourself back so others won't feel threatened, this is the level of love. You cannot give away what you do not possess for yourself. And this is when you need to start taking care of you and what it is that you need. Remember how I said on stress and overwhelm that will lead to shutdown. Before you get to shutdown, you actually have to unplug others that are plugged into you. That's this level. This is when you start discovering what is it that you want? What is it that you need to express? What needs to be in place for you to bring yourself out at your very best? Instead of sacrificing, being the martyr, or with narcissistic tendencies, not personality disorder, but tendencies that says, I have to save everybody from themselves. And then that just brings all the drama in. And it also brings in the fact that you can't count on anybody. Okay, so when I said your emotional wound of abandonment, rejection, unworthiness, and invalidation, you needed to ask yourself which one of those was leading you to be overwhelmed and flooded. That actually matches the core 4. Abandonment simply says that you are handing your power away to too many other people, and instead you need to start saying, if it is to be, it is up to me. That is what's going to have you going from stress as far as a highly energized state into opportunity to bringing you out at your very best, not going into the shutdown. Because the only way that you can go further, faster, is by finding out how this overwhelm is serving you. It's holding you back, but it's serving you because it's simply getting those previous conditioning criteria met. Okay. If rejection was you don't have enough of experiences. There's not enough variety in your life that you are following through with. This isn't about, let me spend a half hour on Facebook scrolling through the feed because every 1/10 of a second, a different image hits me and I'm getting my variety that way. No, you need to put yourself into that environment where you're experiencing the freedom of choices, not living through somebody else. All right. Then there is the unworthiness level. The unworthiness level will show up either, again, you feel like you have to save others or you have to sacrifice yourself for them. Instead, the strength and brilliance that you have there is that you need to start training others on the process and system you've got in place. And maybe you never even thought about it, but you have one in place that you can actually begin to share with others to help them with the same challenge. Have you ever noticed that one of the healthy coping mechanisms they use with our vets who are experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder is getting out there and helping other vets who are having the same challenges. You don't have to have all the answers. You need to be one step ahead. That's it. And then the final one, which is going to be the validation or invalidation. You were simply taught to hold yourself back so others don't feel bad. And so you will continue now to seek out people, places, and things that, well, people that want to keep you down. And what you're doing is you are using them as a surrogate for the person who first taught you that behavior, and you're putting them into place. Hashtag aha, let us know which level you're realizing now holds your brilliance, because if invalidation / validation is your level, which is the beginning levels of leadership, this is the level where you need to start caring for yourself. It's not about saying if it is to be, it's up to me, and what type of environment will I put myself in to take advantage of the opportunities, and who else am I going to assist. This level is you beginning to understand the criteria that needs to be in place for you to be magnificent and brilliant, and not accepting anything less than that from you. No longer allowing yourself to be dumbed down. This wasn't your fault, but you do have to take complete responsibility for moving forward. Okay, remember, if you have any questions, cue and then put in the question. So let's begin to put this together in a plan of action before I do your hypnosis session for you. And if this has made some sense, I know this is pretty intense. This is not like, oh, you're stressed? Well, take a 20-minute walk outside and just do some deep breaths. That treats the symptoms, doesn't get to the cause. The cause is your previous conditioning, and that you hold everything you need to be able to move through it to what's on the other side. That excitement, that passion, that brilliance. But to do it, you have to retrain your mind on how to optimize these emotional states. And if this has made sense, we'll share with you in just a minute. What's this we stuff? Drew's not on here with me. He's sitting over on the other side. We'll share your next step with you if this has made sense so far. Okay. So, plan of action. Step number 1. Identify your emotional wound. Abandonment, rejection, unworthiness, invalidation. Step number 2. What does it get for you? Even though it's in a dysfunctional way, you still get something out of it. Step number 3. What's on the other side? What is, because that emotional need that you're getting met, maybe for variety with a lot of drama, it's still going to be there. The variety is still going to be a requirement. But how are you going to now substitute the drama with additional experiences instead of living it out on social media? Okay, so that was step number 3. How are you going to get this need met now in a healthy way? Step number 4, so we know the stress is going to show up, those triggers that set off the emotional wound. Did you know where you break an arm, when it heals, that's actually one of the strongest places? So your emotional wound, when it heals, actually brings you out of your best. I do this because this is where my arm was broke one time whenever I really ticked off my dad. And so that was an emotional wound. How have I used it for my wealth? I understand when people have been put in situations where they feel like they've lost their voice, their ability to choose, their ability to stand up for what's right. And I help them find their voice that's in a safe way. See how we go from wound into wealth? Okay. So begin to notice now that the stress experiences that are going to set off the emotional wound, and when you begin to feel overwhelmed, going, oh, I can actually use this as energy, and then being able to shut the door on the shutdown that will come if you continue to operate that way. Okay. Covered a whole hoop and bunch in the last 50 minutes. Wow. Okay. So if this has at least made some sense to you and you're like, wow, yeah, okay, I want to know more. We want to teach you how to be able to do this for yourself. We have a course, Life Mastery through Self-Hypnosis, that not only talks about how to emotionally optimize the negative feelings when they show up and turn them into extra energy to get more done, but it also goes into the beliefs and teaches you what you need to do there, because we've touched on that a little bit, and then the actions that are needed for continued progress, because you can either have problems or progress, but you cannot have both. You solve one problem, another problem shows up. Progress is when you're designing your life and saying, oh, when this situation shows up, it's no longer a problem. It actually flips the switch on my brilliance. Okay, so if that sounds like something you'd like to explore, go to drewdawnferguson.com/SH. We're going to teach you all of this in depth, as well as how to do hypnosis for yourself so you can have these upgrades. You are empowered to do it. drewdawnferguson.com/SH stands for self-hypnosis. When that creative. All right. And then I've got something else I want you to think about. What if you were to learn how to do this for other people? Not just yourself, but other people. And then be able to make a living off of it. That's when you can look at becoming certified as a hypnotist and learn in depth, reveal, release, relearn, renew. How to make these rapid upgrades for people, these identity upgrades. If information on that, drewdawnferguson.com/CH. Certified hypnotist. I know, I amaze myself at times. And it's called keeping it simple. All right. So either of those two. By the way, today's Friday when we're doing this. You register for either of those programs, we have a bonus that is just absolutely going to blow you away on either of them. You register for the self-hypnosis. We will actually give you a gift certificate worth 50% of your investment to be used towards anything else. You register to become a certified hypnotist. You'll see upcoming trainings. You will actually get the bonus of an additional hypnosis session with either Drew or myself to bring you out at your very best. You already get one with the training, but this will be a bonus to go along with it. And by the way, that bonus is worth $400 because that's how much a session is to work with either Drew or myself. Okay, let's see about moving into your hypnosis session to absolutely turn you on at your brightest whenever you experience the stress and the opportunity to optimize those emotions that used to be known as stress and overwhelm. Before I do that, I have to cover some things. Number one, do not listen to this recording if you are operating any heavy machinery, like you're in your car right now, or I don't know, using a chainsaw. It's also probably not a great idea to use it if you're in the general public, like sitting in a coffee shop, because I want you to be able to relax in a pretty decent manner.
If you look too relaxed, people tend to call 911.
Yeah, if you fall out of your chair, it ain't my fault, okay? That number two, put yourself in some place where you can relax comfortably. Now, if you're sitting in your chair, maybe you want to put your head down on your desk. Don't lay flat, because then you can fall asleep. And when you fall asleep, then you turn off any outside input, and this isn't going to be beneficial for you, okay? Can I make you do anything you don't want to do? No. That's brainwashing. Instead, this is hypnosis. Hypnosis is utilizing suggestions in the form of stories and metaphors and analogies in a way that'll bring you out at your best. The only suggestions that you'll accept are ones that will do exactly that. I can't turn you into a bank robber unless you're already a bank robber. Then could I make you a better one? Yeah, against my ethics, but just saying, I can only bring out what you already possess, which is the reason why I was asking just exactly what do you possess. All right, so can you be hypnotized? Hypnosis is simply a brainwave state known as an alpha brainwave state, where you're open to suggestion, and some behavioral scientists say you go in and out of it 100 to 200 times every single day. Anytime you're in an emotional state, you're open to suggestions. Suggestions to either avoid or to amplify, okay? Which is the reason why I was saying identify your emotions at the very beginning so that you can be allowing that to work in your subconscious with the suggestions that I'll be bringing up during your session. See how we're all looping this together? So every time you're in an emotional state, you're in a suggestible state, which is the reason why as a hypnotist, I start off with relaxation. Okay, so can you be hypnotized? Yes. Will you do anything you don't want to do? No. Will you say anything you don't want to say? I'm not asking you any questions. But if we were working privately and I needed to ask you some questions, you would only give me the information that you thought I needed to bring you out at your very best. And can you get stuck in a hypnotic state? There are 6 levels to hypnosis, something known as Aaron's depth scale. Each level has its own particular end result. If I want to do very simple behavioral modification, which is what we're doing today, a level 1 to a level 2. What's that equal to? A light daydreaming state. You're in a level 1 when you're driving the car and you zone out. Okay. Level 4 is where I take a client when they want to experience painless childbirth, because you can feel pressure, no pain. If you're doing behavioral modification, I don't have to take you to a level 4. Now, with that being said, you may decide to relax to a level 4 because it feels so good, but it doesn't mean the session is going to be any more of a success. So can you get stuck in a hypnotic state? If you go to a deeper state, it just takes you a little bit longer to come out, but you don't get stuck, because you don't get stuck now whenever you naturally go into it. Okay, I think we're ready to begin. What I want you to do is allow yourself to get comfortable, someplace where your head can be supported. And as you're settling into that place, I'd like you to take in a nice, easy breath. And as you let it go, allow your eyes to close gently. And after that, taking in another soft breath, holding it for just a moment, and then releasing it. With your eyes closed, allowing yourself to continue to breathe in normally and naturally, softly and easily. And as you continue to breathe, I'd like you to think about all the wonderful ways in which you love to experience the world, bringing yourself out at your very best. I know one of the ways in which you do that is by hearing. And as you listen to the sound of my voice, you're simply allowing yourself to bring yourself out at your best by relaxing. And any sounds, everyday sounds that might be around you, simply assist you in deepening that relaxation. And the more you relax, the easier it is to focus on my voice. And the more you focus on my voice, the easier it is for you to relax. And the second powerful way in which you love to bring yourself out at your very best and enjoy the world around you is by what you see. And even with your eyes closed, if I'd ask you to, you could imagine or you could think about a spring leaf from a tree, vibrant in color with all of its potential for growth, with maybe just a single drop of dew rolling across its surface. And the third way in which you love to bring yourself out at your best to experience the world around you is by feeling. You're now becoming aware of how you're allowing your feet and legs to relax. And you might not noticed it a moment ago, but now you're realizing how you're allowing your shoulders to move into their natural position. Feels so good to breathe in deeply and exhale gently. And as you do so, you're realizing that you have a very powerful mind. And this powerful mind is here to assist you. So let's let it go ahead and do that. With every breath in, and then out, you're simply letting go of any stress, tension, overwhelm, and strain you may have been holding on to, starting at the top of your head, down across the back, over your forehead and around your eyes, across your cheeks and through your jaw. Every breath out, just letting go of any stress or tension that might be in your neck and shoulders, upper arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, and fingers. In fact, you may find that your fingertips become slightly tingly as any strain you may have been holding on to just flows down your arms and out your hands. Feels really good to let go down both sides of your back, through your stomach and chest. Releasing now any strain that might be in your hips and your legs. Let's start with your thighs, knees, calves and ankles, the tops of your feet. Even your toes have permission to let go. So with your next breath out, letting go of any stress, tension, or strain you've been holding on to, and just allow it to flow out the bottom of your feet, just as easily as you let go of your breath. You bring in your breath and then it works for you and then you release it. Stress comes in, letting you know that you need some push. Tension gives you the ability to get a jump start. Strain can show up to let you know it's time for renewal. So, in the ways these have served you to let you know what you needed to be aware of, they've served their purpose, so it's okay to release them. And now that you have, to the best of your ability, you're ready to start to relax. So with every breath in, you draw in a wonderful wave of relaxation, starting at the bottom of your feet, now the tops, completely and totally relaxing you as it flows up through your legs and into your hips, directing this progressive relaxing sensation up both sides of your back. Pleasant, wonderful as it moves through your stomach and into your chest, allowing yourself to relax just a little deeper as it moves into your shoulders, down through your arms, all the way to the tips of your fingers. So soothing as it moves up your neck and over the back of your head, across your jaw and over your cheeks. Muscles around your eyes are soft, forehead smooth, all the way to the top of your head. Now you're continuing to breathe in easily and exhale slowly. And as you do so, your body's receiving more oxygen. And as this oxygen circulates throughout your system, It's helping you to feel calm and in control. And even though you're relaxed right now, you know you're capable of relaxing just a little further and a little deeper. So in just a moment, I'm going to count from 5 down to 1. And as I do so, I want you to relax further any part of you that you wish. 5, you're the one in control. 4, more relaxed than maybe you've been in quite some time. 3, but every cell, every fiber of your being, 2, now has your permission to be relaxed, comfortable, and at ease. 1, taking in an easy breath and allowing yourself to settle into the level of hypnotic relaxation that's the very best for you. And as you continue to allow yourself to relax to the level that you choose, I'd like you to take a moment and think about, visualize, see in your mind's eye a beautiful ocean. Oh, I wonder what colors are there. Could it be the bright turquoise, the calming sky blue, or the cooling depths of the deep? But I want you to think about you looking out on an expansive ocean, noticing how the waves continue to come in and then go out, and then in and out. Very similar to the thought sometimes in our mind, how a thought can come in and we can just observe it as it then moves out. No need getting involved in any one wave, just allowing it all to flow and revealing you at your very best. But as you look out over this expansive ocean, you notice over on the one side of the dock that you're standing on, a brand new boat. It's exactly the way you want it. It could be that family cabin cruiser that holds the potential of all the joy spent in your relationships. Or maybe it's a speedboat, because where you're going, you like to get there fast. Could it be large, like a cruise ship? You want room for you and all of those that you care about to be able to go on the journey. Or could it be a very simple sailboat where you and just one other person that you care about can find the adventures of exploration? Whatever's there, it's what will choose to take you to that destination. What is that exploration? What is it that you want to discover? What will allow you to experience you optimized? Where will your boat take you? But you know what? It's not necessary for me to know, because I have confidence in your powerful mind. But you're wondering, do you have the confidence to take your boat out? It's its maiden voyage. Now, if we think just for a moment, we know that boats are meant to be in the water. And we also know that they're meant to go out and be tested on the maiden voyage, so we know what needs to be upgraded so the boat will support us on those longer journeys. So this journey that you're going to take is going to be a little shorter, staying in your safe harbor, knowing that the dock is very close anytime you need to go back to it. But this is our shakedown cruise. It's time to find out what needs to be upgraded. So allowing yourself to move into your boat and whatever needs to happen for you to begin to take it out into the water. It might take a little bit of effort or a lot of effort, but you know what? You're not afraid of a little effort, because this is here to support you and your adventure of revealing even more of life's experiences for you. Gradually taking the boat out into the water. You know, one of the very first things you do whenever you take a boat out is you begin to look at the different systems that are needed to run the boat. Is it all operating the way that it needs to? Taking a moment without the sound of my voice to give yourself the certainty you need that all of the systems are being operated by you in the way that they should be. But there's more. We also want to make sure that our boat can handle a variety of experiences. So you might want to take it in close to shore and then make sure that you can pull it back, always staying safe in your harbor, always knowing that the dock is exactly where it needs to be for you to return. Or maybe you need to take the boat out just a little bit further in your safe harbor where the waves are a little bit more expansive to make sure that it's holding the way that it needs to. I wonder as you're doing all of this, if you're noticing that you need assistance. Is there anyone else that you might be able to invite in to assist you? And because we always enjoy life more when it can be with others, I wonder when they join you, how you'll be able to model the actions of being the captain of the boat in a way that allows them to have that inner knowingness of how to run their own ship. But you know what? It's not necessary for me to know, because I have confidence in your powerful mind. And you're now developing the confidence that you need to be able to allow your boat to take you to places you have yet to explore. Adventures that are waiting and calling you in life. Deciding now to go ahead and bring it back into the dock and running down the checklist of what we need to notice, what we need to pay attention to. Because although a boat, a ship, is designed to be in the water, water is not designed to be in it. Because when that happens, then our vessel becomes flooded. And before we can even take it out, so much has to be done to repair it. So we want to make sure that it is in tip-top shape before you begin to take it out again. Going through your checklist, what areas need assistance to make sure that our boat can handle the stress of being in the water, and that it can actually optimize the environment that it's in, the waves, the wind, to move it along quickly. Is there anyone else that needs to be brought in to assist you with this? Who would you like to share this journey with? How will those that you care about actually benefit from you having your boat, your ship, your vessel seaworthy? And allowing now your very powerful mind to come up with at least several ways that are going to be healthy and safe for you, bringing you out at your very best, because you're ready to take your vessel out again. It was never a question of if. It was always a question of when, and you're answering that question now. That's right. You're answering the question now. The question of how to use stress as energy, on how to optimize those emotions to bring you out at your very best. What is you at your very best? If it is to be, it is up to me. It is the adventure and variety in life. It is how I share that adventure with others. It's how I model the beginning levels of leadership through love. Allowing all of that to begin to come to the surface. It was hidden in the depths, but now it's rising up to the surface in your safe harbor. That's right. Asking to be brought out so it can be displayed on your ship, on your boat, on your vessel, as a very powerful reminder to you, your potential, your power, and your success. I wonder what this reminder will be. What came up for you? Now, we know at times storms can show up. And if your boat has been designed and tested appropriately, you're ready for most storms. But every once in a while, that hurricane shows up. And your boat was never meant to go through the hurricane. Instead, it will need to be taken to another safe harbor. It will need to be unplugged from the area that could cause it damage and taken to a place where it's going to be safe and secure. And you're beginning to realize now some of the hurricanes that you've experienced in the past with overwhelming, flooding emotions. Not that it was your fault, but simply somewhere along the line, your powerful mind accepted that these were some of the situations that you were supposed to find yourself in. And your very powerful mind is now realizing, for you to be your best, those situations will not be ones that you seek out. because there's too many other experiences of adventure and excitement and passion that are calling to you. What lands have you yet to visit? What lands of opportunity? What islands that hold some insight? What adventure is calling you now? Your boat's ready, and so are you. Now, in just a moment, I'm going to count from 5 up to 1. As I do so, you feel fabulous. All of the instructions and all of the suggestions will begin to work for you and work for you now. And every time you will reflect back on this experience and the different pieces that meant something to you, it'll be even easier for you to bring yourself out at your best. This is a cycle of progress that can and will work for you. 5, feeling good because you now know you're ready for your next exploration. 4, some of the feelings are coming back. Your feet, legs, shoulders, and arms. 3, becoming more and more aware of everything around you, just as you're becoming more and more aware of your own strengths, talents, and abilities, what you already possess. 2, looking forward to your next exploration. And 1, taking in an easy breath and allowing your eyes to open gently. Thank you so much for allowing Drew and I to serve you today. Even though he couldn't be here on camera, he was in the room. And we look forward to your next level of success. What we're asking that it's through us, whether it's the self-hypnosis course at drewdonferguson.com/sh, or learning how to do this for others, marrying your passion of assisting others with the profit of a well-run business, drewdonferguson.com/ch. All right, it's time now for you to decide what's the next area you're going to explore with your ship, your boat, your vessel. It's ready and waiting. Thank you. Bye now.